Thank you for joining me. My reason for starting this channel is to share my love of baking and my love of the Great British, Great American baking shows and their technical challenges. Today I'll be making Mary Berry's Victorian Sponge Cake. It was the technical challenge in Series 1, Episode 1 of the Great British Baking Show. Wish me luck, and here we go. Let's get our sponges going. To start off, I'm going to preheat my oven to 355 degrees behind me here. And then I'm going to need 2 round cake pans. I'm going to rub butter around the sides and then line the bottom with a circle of parchment paper. And I pre-cut these parchment papers already, but it's pretty easy. You just take a square of your regular parchment paper that you would pull out, and you fold it up into a square until it ends up being a little triangle, and you put it in the center of your pan, make the mark, and cut, and you have your circle. Okay, now let's get on to the actual baking part. I'm going to grab my large mixing bowl and I'm going to put 4 eggs into it. And then I'm going to add 255 grams of granulated sugar. In Mary Berry's recipe, it's listed as caster sugar, same thing. Next, I'm going to add 225 grams of flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, and 225 grams of softened butter. Now my butter wasn't completely softened this morning, so a trick you can use is take a glass cup and fill it with water, put it in the microwave until the water is boiling, and then if you dump the water out and put the butter in it and turn it upside down on a plate and leave it set for like 10-15 minutes, you'll have your softened butter. Okay, now we're gonna mix everything till it's well combined. It is kind of a stiff dough we got going here. Up my speed here a little bit. Okay, I think that should be good. And a tip from Mary Berry's recipe is to be careful not to overmix. As soon as everything's blended, you should stop. And the finished mixture should be a soft dropping consistency. So now we're going to divide it evenly between our 2 cake pans. And then here's what our batter looks like. I'm sure if you wanted to be more technical about it, you could measure it, but I'm just going to kind of eyeball it here. Okay, now we're going to smooth it out. Nice and smooth, nice and even, so they set decent when we stack them. And the other one. These look like they're going to be very thin cakes. Hopefully they will puff up in the oven for us. Okay, we got them all even. Now I'm gonna place the tins in the middle shelf of my oven and we're gonna bake it for 25 minutes. Okay, while our cakes are cooking, let's make the jam that we're gonna put on top in the middle of it. So we're gonna take 200 grams of raspberries, put them in our pan we had heating up here, and we're gonna mash them up. I don't have like a potato masher, so I'm gonna use a pastry blender just to squish them up a little bit. We're gonna squish them all up, get some of that juice out. And then we're gonna add 250 grams of sugar and half a box of Sure Gel. Now in Mary Berry's recipe, she had 250 grams of jam sugar, but I wasn't able to find it at my store. I'll mix those together. And it's already kind of forming a thickness to it. And we're gonna heat it until the sugar has melted. And then once, it looks like all the sugar's melted now. We are gonna, there we go, maybe you can see better now. And then we're gonna up the heat until it boils for approximately 4 minutes. All right, now that our raspberries and sugar have been boiling for about 4 minutes, we're gonna remove it from the heat and we're gonna pour it into a shallow container so it can cool, and then we can chill it to set. And that'll make spreading it on the cake much easier. Okay guys, so for the buttercream, we're gonna move to my stand mixer. Whatever mixer you have works fine. I just happened to get a KitchenAid a couple years ago for Christmas, and that's what I like to use for buttercream. So first we're gonna beat 100 grams of softened butter and 100 grams of powdered sugar until they're completely smooth. And I got this handy little beater attachment off of Amazon. It has a little scraper on it so it acts like a spatula. Okay, let's get this beaten up. And I started a little too fast there, so some got on me. Okay, it's a little more incorporated now, so I am gonna increase the speed. Okay, now that we have that mixed in, we're gonna put the other 100 grams of powdered sugar in. So that's 200 grams all together. Look at that, let that get incorporated a little bit here. De-sugar myself here. Okay, that's incorporated a little more, so I'm gonna increase the speed. And we're going to add a tablespoon, or 2 tablespoons, excuse me, of milk here. I use whole milk to get a creamier buttercream. If you want to use 2% skim milk or almond, it's completely up to you. Speed it up a little bit here. Very nice. We'll scrape off our beaters. Okay, now next we're gonna put it into a piping bag for later once our cakes are done. So what I like to do when I put stuff in a piping bag is I grab any ordinary kitchen cup, and of course you put your tip on first. You're gonna put it in the cup and just roll it over and squish it down so that it lines the inside of the cup, and you don't have to worry about it falling all over the place when you're trying to put your mixture in. And this is just the recipe for buttercream that Mary Berry had. If you want to make a larger amount or you want it flavored, you can do what you like with it, completely up to you. We'll pull it out of the cup and squeeze it down, and we have our buttercream later for assembly. Guys, our cake timers just went off, so let's see how they're doing. When they're done, they should be golden brown and pulling away from the tins, which they are. And then it should be springy and bounce back to the touch. So it looks like we're good to go. And we're gonna leave these sit in the tins for about 5 minutes to cool. And then we'll put them on our cooling racks. Now, when you turn them onto the cooling rack, if you put a towel down, there'll be no marks on your cakes. Okay, our cakes are now cooled for about 5 minutes, so we're gonna remove them from the pans. You're gonna run either a butter knife or a cake spatula around it. Flip it out. Butter works, no sticking. And remove our paper. And same with the other one. Okay, we're gonna remove our paper. And now we want to let them cool completely before we start our assembly. Alright everybody, it's assembly time. So we're going to choose the best looking sponge out of the two for the top. We're going to take the one that's not the best looking, and we're going to put it top down on our serving plate. And we're going to spread our jam over the top in a nice even layer. If a little runs off the side, that's okay. Okay, we're gonna add our buttercream. Nice even layer. We're going to take the bottom of the cake down, other cake on top, and we're going to top it with a little bit of additional powdered sugar. It looks all pretty. Here's another view of the cake for you. Nice and pretty. So that's Mary Berry's Victorian Sponge Cake. Thank you for watching. I will link the recipe I used below. That is Mary Berry's, and please join me again for more technical challenges. Bye.